Hello, researchers. Today we're going through research methods once again, and we are looking at chapter 2 of your research thesis or dissertation, and which is usually, under normal circumstances, usually your literature review. So sit back and relax as I take you through this very critical chapter. Thank you. So I'm your presenter, Malcolm Shambana, like Elliot stated. You can catch me on WhatsApp, though this is a Zambian number. So if you want, you're trying to reach me from outside, you can add our code, the Zambian code, which is +26. The zero is already there, so you can add +26 to that number. Then you're able to catch me through, or you can also as well subscribe to my YouTube account in case you're looking forward to my future videos, and already recorded videos are there on that platform. Uh, so today we are looking at literature review, and the learning objectives are to establish the importance of literature review, also to know the sources of our literature, to know the importance of citation and referencing, also to know how to use the citation apps, because that's a short of application, I guess. Also to know how to create a literature catalog. So literature review. What is literature review? So literature review is the discussion of work done by others, already done by others in relation to our research topic. We want to know what others have already done. Why is it important that we know what others have already done regarding our research topic? It's important because it helps us avoid duplication of work. Imagine you spending resources and time on something which is already done or already on record. It's a waste of time and resources, definitely. It also increases the knowledge on the subject. That's why it's very important that we understand what's already there and build on what's already there. It's like standing now on shoulders of giants, as they call it. So it increases the knowledge of the researcher, also increases the knowledge of the one who's reading the research report. Additionally, it aids in contextualizing your findings, putting them in context. There are several findings which you need to align and make sense out of it. You can only do that by gathering information through your literature. It also helps establish the knowledge gaps. Through reading your literature, you are able to tell what has not yet been done and what needs to be done. From there, even your research will focus on what has to be done, since you have established the gaps in the knowledge which is existing. It helps establish a research a methodology which you are going to use. So, in case where there has been some research and the researchers have been concentrating, say, for example, on a particular subject, you are able to come up with a different approach, different methodology. Since everyone has been doing it qualitatively, you can decide to do it quantitatively. So it also helps establish your research method. Sources of literature. There are several sources of literature. What matters is the credibility of where you are getting the literature. So you need to be careful where you are sourcing your literature. Some sources maybe unverified information, maybe something which is not true or something which has not been confirmed. So when choosing the source of your literature, you need to be careful and establish rightful sources that are verified, or maybe that are truthful, or maybe that have been confirmed. There are several sources, but they are not limited to the ones which I'm presenting currently. Some of them is your institutional repository. Most universities or research institutions have storage of intellectual information, such as your thesis. Maybe if you are done with your thesis, you're supposed definitely to deposit your final copy for signing, and you leave it at the institution, because your thesis does not belong to you, it belongs to the institution you are researching for, or be it the university you are researching for. It's not your document. You can't even sell your whole thesis. Other sources are, there is Google Scholar, which is the most common. You can Google it. There, it's there's so much data on Google, but this one is specifically for academic purpose. Most of the academic findings, research, thesis, and dissertation are recorded on this platform, the Google Scholar. You need to search on that. There are theses and other materials, other journals, which you can find helpful for your literature review. You can also look at professional journals. For example, in Zambia, we have got the Economic Association of Zambia. I guess they produce journals. We have got the Zambia Institute of Chartered Accountants. I understand they also produce journals. All those can be your source of your literature in your academic research. There are also publications from the government websites. For example, the Bank of Zambia, you can check the exchange rate. There is also the Central Statistical Office. I think they have changed the name now, it's something like Zamstat. There is also the Ministry of Finance. You can source a lot of information, and other government institutions today have posted the information on their sites. They have developed sites now. So from there, you can gather adequate information for your literature review. We go on to citation and referencing. What is citation and referencing? Any academic writing where there is some picking of ideas, words, or other work done by researchers has to contain some citation, because there is need for you to give credit to the original owners of those words, because you have just borrowed that content, and it's just a matter of being ethical and decent, that you acknowledge the original owners of that work. So that's the importance of citation. Why we are discussing citation? Because most of the work which is done under literature review is cited, and you need to know how to cite. Several universities have got different recommendation on how they want their learners to cite in their research. So it depends on your institution, but I'll show you the common method of citation. Uh, I'll use the app which is on the internet, which is called CiteFast, but you can also access other site depending on what your institution has recommended. You can find other sites where you can pick your citation. Why you need to use an app is because you may have cited maybe over even 25, 25 writers. It may be difficult for you to run it manually. It can be very difficult and very, very confusing. You might even end up losing that information. So it's very critical that you understand how to use these citing apps and referencing apps for your easier working and easier referencing, and it's a way of storage also your information. You need to know the citations and the referencing are similar, But referencing is like the overall, it's more detailed and it's usually put at the end of your research. But citation is within your wordings, within your workings, within your research paper. So you need to also do your a bit of homework there, check the difference. But I can still give you an example, which I picked from one of the universities, which is the Kwai Plain Polytechnic University. Yes. So there is in citation where you just pick usually the last name of the writer and the year. And if you are direct quoting, usually you also indicate the page from where you are direct quoting those words. And then that same citation which you have, you need to have the details at the end, usually of your research, which is it will fall under your references. As you can see, there is Alvaro C. 2017. The details are there. The insight just gave us the date and the page. But at the end of your document, your research, at the far end, at the appendix, you need to indicate now the details. If it's a site, there I can see says Journal of Agriculture and Environment Ethics, and so on and so forth. So I'll walk you through the one of the apps which you need to understand, which you can use for citing your other writers in your literature review. We'll go through that shortly. Just take a break. So when you go to your Google research engine, you can type cite first, cite first. Okay, I'll just go on it. And usually it comes with as APA7 citation generator. But within the site, you can choose what is recommended by your institution. There's MLA citation, APA citation, there's also Chicago citation. There are several citations, but I want to show you the one which I am familiar with, which is Cite First. So I'll go into the site. There, I open. So once you open your Cite First, on your excuse me, on your right, there is create account. You need to create account. It won't ask you much of your details. To ask you maybe just your name and your email address. So once you create that account, you log in. This face will still appear in your account the way it is blank. So if you want to cite, you have to either pick a website, a book. If you know it, you know the book or manual, you can enter it manually, or a journal if you know it manually. So I'll give you an example of a website citing. So I'll go, or for example, let's search on drought in Zambia, which is our usual topic, of course. Why I've stuck on to that topic is I don't want to lose, I want people to follow through from the beginning until the end of the research, this research paper, which I can say is imaginative. So I'll go to the site, create another site. So there, I'll search for drought in Zambia. Once drought in Zambia appears, there are so many websites, suggestion. Okay, for example, I picked this one. It's coming from World Health Organization, which is a very reputable site for your citing. Because I'm sure the information which is here is verified. So I open the World Health Organization, and then I'll pick the site in the bar, the ribbon on top, where I'm pointing the cursor. I can pick from where I just say from source here from this point, where the words, normal words which are making sense, where they end. That's where I'll pick. I'll say control copy. I've copied. And then I go to the site. Usually this site has so many adverts. So that's where that's a system they also need to make their funding resources. So when you have read, if you have time, you close those adverts which pop up. And then you come here, I'll paste. And then search. So the app has searched for the where this site, and it has picked. It was published on 8th November 2019. Website World Health Organization. Though at times it may leave out the authors. So you need to know the authors. There we know that if you want, you can go back to the site, but we know the authors is the World Health Organization. So we have included it manually. And then you come to on this blue tick if you want to save your, don't be afraid of saving your citation. Just save because you can still come and edit. So I'll save my citation. There I have my citation. So it comes on the right side of your screen. Again, if you want, you can pick a manual book, say you do it manually, you come and you click where it indicate manual. The one which you have done, it's automatically. You click manual, then you say, for example, the author is Mulenga Piri. He published it in 2023. He was predicting that there will be drought. Say title, drought. Yeah, drought, for example, in Zambia. There is no website because we are just, maybe it's a manual book, we have just picked it. So drought in Zambia 2020. There are other things which you can put, maybe there is the annotations, maybe it's numbers. But as for now, this is for illustration purpose. So I'll save it. So it will come here as well on your list of referencing. So here we have referencing and we also have inciting. So where I'm going to quote anything from PDM 2023 drought in Zambia, I have to come and pick the insight here. It will give me this. PDM, you can select and copy it and paste it just after your words, the words which you have borrowed from PDM. Then you would have done your insight. It's the same case as here. Wherever you're going to put words which you have picked from the World Health Organization, you click on insight, this one will come down, then you select it, then you go and paste just after the wordings which you have picked from World Health Organization. After your document, you can have a list. This list will go on and go. Actually, it's supposed to even have a title, the referencing. If you are, it's only that this is for illustration purpose. It's supposed to have a title. This thing will go on and on. Maybe you have 20 of these from PDM to World Health Organization. There will be others. Just take note that this one is putting them in alphabetical order. Once you are done, you can export them to Word. The whole list will come to Word, it will be exported to your Word document. There you can copy and paste it at the end of your thesis, dissertation, or research spot. This is how you do your citing. So even in your spare time, try to go through, log in, create your account. It's a safe site. Create your account. You're using your email and your details. Then that's the one you can be using for if you have got quite a number of writers you are going to cite from it, so that you don't lose track of your citing and referencing. So the referencing will totally match with your citing in citing. That's how it's supposed to be done. Hope this is clear. We move on. One thing you need to bear in mind is that literature review writing can be a challenge most of the time. Why? Because maybe you haven't organized your work very well. It's very important that your work is organized, because you can be writing and writing literature from this source to another. You can make even maybe 30 pages just writing things which are hard for the readers of your dissertation or thesis to understand. Usually, I recommend that you use, before you even start writing, you create a literature review catalog. This is a point where you summarize whatever you are researching, literature you are gathering from different sites into a tabular form and according to several categories. Remember, our example we have is we need to look at the objectives of our example, which was the impact of drought on Zambia. The objective was establishing the impact of drought on Zambia's inflation. The other objective was establishing the impact of drought on Zambia's interest rate. The other objective was establishing the impact of drought on Zambia's foreign currency exchange rate. If you are behind with this example, please, you can still go back to YouTube, my account there. You'll find several videos. They are all linked. The example is starting from the research topic up to this point. We are still using the example because I don't want to lose you. I don't want to give so many different examples, because we might go astray. So we are maintaining the example of drought in Zambia, and one of the objective of drought of the main objective was to find out the impact. The aim actually of the research was to find out the impact of drought on Zambia's inflation. On Zambia's economy. So that economy has been broken down into inflation. Sorry, it's supposed to be inflation, not inflations. Inflation, interest rate, and foreign exchange. So please, if you haven't seen those other videos, it's better you start from there. That's when you are going to catch up with this example. So under your literature review, those objectives are the ones which are going to be your headings. The objective were to establish the impact of drought on Zambia's inflation. So one of the headings, the first headings, I can pick it, is the impact of drought on Zambia's inflation. The other heading will be the impact of drought on Zambia's interest rate. And the third one will be the impact of drought on Zambia's foreign currency exchange rate. So you're going to discuss your literature review in that manner. Though you need first to begin with your introduction. You introduce what you are going to do in your literature review. Then this part of discussion will be the body of your literature review. Then there is also a conclusion. So today we are just looking at the body. We are not concentrating on the introduction. We are concentrating on the body of the literature review. So we will walk through how to create a literature review catalog. Uh, Hopefully you are familiar with Excel, because you can do it even in Word, but Excel is easier to manipulate and move things from one point to another. So stand by for the illustration on your literature catalog. So the catalog has been designed according to your your research objectives, which have become your headings in your literature review, which is impact of drought on Zambia's inflation. That's the first sheet. The second sheet has impact of drought on Zambia's interest rate. And the third sheet has the impact of drought on Zambia's foreign currency exchange. These, remember, are coming from our research objectives, which are also coming from our research aim. So they are a breakdown. Inflation, interest rate, forex are the breakdown of Zambia's inflation, which we have picked as our objective. We need to understand the impact of drought on these factors. So the first sheet, we have a column. You may design your catalog in whatever manner you want, but this is just an illustration. So we have a column where you can drop the details of the abstract of the researcher who you have picked, who you have researched on as literature. So the first one is, for example, I haven't put, this is just for illustration purpose. I haven't put the title name. Definitely to come with a title, say maybe drought, say in 1991, Zambia. This is just for illustration purpose. Then the author, you indicate the name of the author. You also indicate the name in which that document was published. You indicate the country where it was published, the methodology which was used, the findings of that research. Also, maybe the key content maybe in your own words. Maybe you are trying to establish a pattern of words. You can indicate there that no, this one is concentrating, is talking about such and such. Then even now, your full comments, what you think about that research. Then we have another person, maybe that's again you paste the abstract there. From the abstract, obviously your focus is on the background methodology used, excuse me, and also the findings. So you have the findings there in that column. You have the title, say rough drought. This is just an example by S. Tindila in 2007. It was done in Zimbabwe. It was a quantitative method. The findings, you gather information in that manner, in that tabular manner. This will help you when it comes to now writing down what is required. For example, by your institution, if they say that you need to present the working in for example, chronological order, you are going to begin with, you are going to sort using your data analysis here. You sort out this column so that 1991 then comes 205 according to your discussion. So you are going to discuss in your under your literature review. So you are going to begin by discussing what this C. Mutare wrote. You discuss what C. Mutare wrote and how he concluded, and you give your opinion on what he wrote. And later on, who wrote second? Was it M. Mumba? You discuss M. Mumba. You see, I'm putting it in a chronological order. So after 1991, M. Mumba also discussed this. His finding was that there was medium correlation, and he also go to now, is it M. Mubanga? In that manner, so and you end up with S. Tindila. So your literature now will start discussing these and then comparing their findings. You even discuss their findings because it's easy for you to see their findings because you have summarized the work. So for example, I would say Mutale concluded that there's a strong correlation between drought on Zambia's inflation, between drought and Zambia's inflation, but Simumba in 2005 said there was actually medium, it wasn't a strong correlation. Then later on in 205, Simumba was 204. In 205, M. Mubanga from Namibia also did a quantitative research on the same similar topic and said actually there was no correlation. So you are discussing these according to the way you are looking at them in the table, but now you are going to write in form of text under the heading of the impact of drought on Zambia's inflation. And then you're also going to put your comments whilst discussing these findings in different periods. It's the same case as the interest rate. Sometimes here you may have maybe even different methodology. Even in your comments, you state for example, C. Chongo used the mixed method and concluded that there is strong correlation, whilst C. Mutale, who did it in 1991, said there was weak correlation. Further, C. Chongo concluded qualitatively that interest rates were increased in that manner. It makes your life easier if you tabulate, you create a literature catalog in such a manner. On all the subheadings, it's easier for you to compare the writers because you're going to look at the finding, they're in the same column. The key contents, they're in the same column. The methodology also needs to be compared, even the timing, because time changes when it was analyzed. And you can even give now your views. So your literature review is actually picking from your literature catalog. This literature catalog, you can actually put it as your index at the end of the research after you are done with your research. It's very important that you create a catalog before you start writing. Otherwise, you might lose yourself or the readers of your research. I think for today we conclude from here. What I can mention on the summary is that you just state, you summarize what your findings, you include your words, you summarize what you read from others, include your words, then also introduce the succeeding chapter, which is your methodology, and that will be our next topic and our next video in few days time. Thank you.